Okay, guess I'm online. Wow. Okay, so I woke up to this morning. Netflix just sealed the deal in the bidding war, putting down an $82 billion deal to acquire Warner Brothers and HBO, primarily seemingly for the reasons of killing it. And that's what I'm going to get into today. This is going to be a little bit of a crunchier video today because I'm doing this completely unscripted. I'm mostly just reacting to the ongoing shitstorm of what's going on this morning because everyone's kind of freaking out over this. All right. Yeah. Yo, Zizi. Yeah, totally unscripted today. I'm just kind of holy shit. This is kind of a worst case scenario. This will create a monopoly. The monopoly situation is actually one of the only things going towards it. Anyway, blah. Let me quick look at everything going on because this effing sucks. Yes, that would be Zaslav. Zaslav is running Warner Brothers into the ground, and now he intends to escape with $82 billion of Netflix money. They could have produced a whole season of Wednesday with that, but no, Zaslav just stole it all and using it to flee to Australia or something. All right. Let's see what's going on online. All right, I got here a massive press release from Warner/Netflix because they're together now. Let me read over this press release because there's a lot of juicy stuff in here. According to the press release, they have entered a definitive argument under which Netflix will acquire Warner Brothers, its television studios, its film studios, HBO Max, and HBO. I'm assuming Netflix is going to shut down HBO Max, which sucks because Netflix doesn't run on my TV well. HBO Max does. So I actually mostly watch HBO Max on my TV because Netflix always crashes and gets stuck in everything. Let's see. Cash stock value was valued at $30 a share. Total value 82.7 billion with an equity value of 72 billion. So what? Okay, I get it. They overpaid by 10 billion for the land. Beloved franchises have now been acquired by Netflix, such as The Big Bang Theory, The Sopranos, Game of Thrones, and The Wizard of Oz. And the DC universe will join Netflix's extensive portfolio, including Wednesday, Money Heist, Bridgerton, Adolescence, and Extraction, creating an extraordinary entertainment offering for audiences worldwide. The way this is written, it kind of sounds like Wednesday and Bridgerton are going to be part of the DCU, which would be insane and stupid, but hilarious. I'm pretty sure they're not taking that literally, but it sounds literal on the paper, which is funny. CEO of Netflix says, by combining Warner Brothers, the library of movies and shows, and the timeless classics like Casablanca, Citizen Kane, Harry Potter, and Friends, to our cultural defining titles like Stranger Things, K-pop Demon Hunters, and Squid Game, we can do even better together. We can give audience more of what they love and define the next century of storytelling. The acquisition will improve our offering and accelerate our business for decades to come, cited the CEO of Netflix, Greg Peters. Warner Brothers has helped define entertainment for more than a century and continues to do so with phenomenal creative executives, production capabilities, with our global reach and proven business models. We can introduce a broader audience to worlds they create, giving our members more options, attracting our fans a best-in-class streaming service, strengthening the entire entertainment industry, and creating more value for the shareholders. Today's announcement combines two of the greatest storytelling companies in the world to give even more entertainment to the people who love it the most, said David Zaslav, president and CEO of Warner Brothers. For more than a century, Warner Brothers has thrilled audience, captured the world's attention, and shaped our culture. By coming together with Netflix, we will ensure people everywhere will enjoy the world's most resonant stories for generations to come. Okay, so then there's the stupid reasons why this is good. Let's see, why is this good? Warner Brothers is a world-class studio. Warner Brothers is recognized as the leading supplier of television titles and filmed entertainment. HBO Max and HBO also provide compelling offerings for adult consumers. Netflix expects to maintain Warner Brothers' current operations, build upon its strengths, and continue releasing theatrical releases for films. I'm a little bit worried that that's a lie. If that's not a lie, good, but yeah, that's worried. Kaiju with a camera says, how long have we been in this dystopian future? I want to say things started to get really dystopian like 6 months after Trump was elected the first time, and then it's just been like constantly slipping from there. ZZ says this is a kick in the Casablanca. That's one way of putting it. Okay, more reasons why this is good from the official press release. This will create more choice and greater values for the consumers. No, it won't. It just means you have to have Netflix or you can't watch anything. By adding the deep film and TV libraries and all of HBO Max's programming, Netflix members will have high-quality titles from which to choose. This allows Netflix to optimize its plan for consumers, enhancing viewing options and expanding access to content. Okay, hold the fucking phone right there. That pretty much says like outright that they're going to shut down HBO Max and just put all their shit on Netflix, which I don't appreciate too much. Like that's pretty not cool. Yeah, that's pretty scuzzy, it looks like. Like I guess writing's on the wall for HBO Max. I'm not sure when they'll shut it down, but it seems like it's imminent. Oh, fuck. Also, this is going to make Netflix way more expensive, too. I imagine they'll jack up the price by like another $10 just to like justify absorbing HBO Max, if like more than that. All right, let's see what else. Absorbing HBO and Warner Brothers will create a stronger entertainment industry. This acquisition, will enhance Netflix's studio capabilities, allowing the company to significantly expand American production capacity and continue to grow investment in original content. Over long term, that will create jobs and strengthen the entertainment industry. I don't know, man. That's a bunch of bullshit. I feel like this is becoming like a full-on like entertainment monopoly right here, and with the monopoly in place, like California's doomed, like the entertainment industry is doomed, like fewer people are going to have fewer jobs. Less shit's going to be made. Like, overall, this is a bad thing. Like, Netflix competing with Warner Brothers is way more than Netflix owning Warner Brothers. Let's see what else. Oh, also, this is super bad for animation, you guys. Like, no offense, but considering how, like, Netflix, like, barely cares for their own animation department, like, Cartoon Network, Looney Tunes, that's all fucking fucked in this scenario. I mean, they'll definitely, like, maintain the library, and they might, like, start sucking stuff away from, like, Disney Hulu, but I feel like overall this is just bad for everything we like. I don't think we're even going to get the Snyder cut out of this because like Netflix has like lost all respect for Zack Snyder lately. Who else is here? Toku Prime, welcome over here. Kaiju with a camera says monopoly or oligopoly. Yeah, it's an oligopoly, right? I feel like America is definitely getting to the oligarch state, but I can't say we actually have too many of those aside from like the big tech bro billionaires. Bacchus DM says Cartoon Network's corpse found and desecrated. Pretty much. Yeah, stop. He's already dead. Yeah, that's where we're going. All right, back to reading over the depressing press release. Absorbing Warner Brothers will create more opportunities for creative community. By uniting Netflix's members of experience with the global reach of Warner Brothers' renowned franchises and extensive library, the company, like they're fucking aliens, will create great value for the talent, offering more opportunities for work and beloved intellectual properties, telling new stories and connecting with a wider audience than ever before. Not really. I mean, like, if anything, like, this sounds like they're making, like, entertainment like a premium product that you'll only be able to get from Netflix, especially if Netflix carries out their plan to shut down movie theaters. Next up, what do we got? This is good for the shareholders. Oh, yeah, the fucking shareholders, of course. By offering a wider selection of quality series and films on Netflix, Netflix expects to attract more members, drive more engagement, and generating incremental revenue and operating volume. The company also expects to realize at least 2 to 3 billion costs and savings year by year, and expects the transition to be accretive to GAAP servings per share by year 2. Okay, so this just confirms what I was speculating on earlier, that when they absorb HBO Max, they're going to raise the cost of Netflix, because that's the only way Netflix can make more money is if they raise their membership, because Netflix only makes a set amount of money per year. That is actually why Netflix is getting into theme parks, and I kind of support that, because that allows them to make more money without just fucking raising the price of Netflix. I think a Netflix theme park is actually subsidizing the price of Netflix. But still, yeah, this is not good for anyone. What's up with everybody over here? ZZ says, I guess you'll have to watch the Looney Tunes sitcom elsewhere. It might stay on Tubi for a little bit. I know Tubi announced a semi-long-term deal with WB. So as long as that deal is still in place, they'll still get a large amount of Looney Tunes content for a while. There's also still Coyote versus Acme coming out through Ketchup. And I don't know how, but they just announced a Speedy Gonzalez movie. I'm guessing that's just going to go straight to Netflix, but it would be really funny if it was a super woke, kind of anti-Ice Speedy Gonzalez movie. I think that would just be a really funny take to see Speedy Gonzalez versus Ice agents. But all right, anyway, what else we got? ZZ says this optimism is horrible. ZZ says, speaking of cinemas in my country, the Cathay Cineplex is decimated. ZZ, you're not from America? I always thought you were from North Carolina up to now. Are you from Malaysia? What's your deal, ZZ? Kaiju with a camera says, Stranger Things and House of Dragons will flash sideways into each other. ZZ says she hates Zaslav. All right, what else we got? Is there another page of this? There is another page of this. Oh, fuck. Okay. The last page. Yeah, this is the last page. It says transaction deals and timing. So under the terms of this agreement, each WBD shareholder will receive $23 in cash and $4.5 of Netflix common stock for each share of WB common stock they have outstanding at the closing of the transaction. Okay, this means you should buy Warner Brothers stock because they're going to shut it down and turn it into Netflix stock and kind of pay you off during the shutdown. I guess that's good if you buy stock. I don't have money to buy stock, but great for stock owners. Blah-de, blah-de, blah. The transaction values Warner Brothers at $27 a share. That's why they're giving everyone $5. Blah-de, blah-de, blah. In 2025, WB announced its plans to separate streaming studios and global networks into two publicly traded companies. This separation is still going forward and is now expected to be completed in Q3 of 2026, approximately a year from now, prior to the closing of this transaction. The newly separated public traded company holding the Global Networks division is hereby Discovery Global. That means they're resplitting WB and Discovery again before they sell to Netflix. Will include premier entertainment, sports, and news television brands around the world, including such channels as CNN, TNT Sports in the U.S., and the Discovery Channel. Free-to-air channels in Europe and digital products such as Discovery Plus and the Bleacher Report will be included in this Discovery Global company. The stock component is subject to a collar under which WBC shareholders will receive Netflix stock valued at $5 a share, provided a $15 volume-weighted VWAAP of Netflix stock price. Blah, 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 money, math, I don't care about stock price. Transaction was unanimously approved by the board of directors of both Netflix and Warner Brothers Discovery. In addition to the completion of the separation of Discovery Channel from Warner Brothers, and the completion of the transaction is subject to the required regulatory approvals, approval of WB shareholders, and other customary closing conditions. The transaction is expected to finally close in the next 12 to 18 months. Okay, this actually perks me up here because this one sentence does say that there's a couple of ways out of this. So this does say that even though the transaction was approved today, it's not unanimously approved until all the shareholders approve it and the government approves it because it is a fucking monopoly. Now, there's actually a lot on the playing field right now that maybe effing Warner Brothers will get screwed up by the Trump administration because Trump wanted Warner Brothers to sell to Paramount. Zizi's actually from Singapore, but grew up in America when she was a kid. Good for you, Zizi. I love Singapore. I'm actually very, very afraid of the legal system, so I would never go there. But part of me wants to go there. I'm just afraid I would accidentally get arrested very fast. So good on you. Toku, what does this mean for the future of things like DC? Honestly, man, it's pretty bad. As it is, I've heard some internal rumblings that James Gunn is losing his hold on what DC is doing. Although on the flip side, with Netflix taking over, I guess Netflix would approve of the Gunverse. So I don't really know. There's a shot in the dark with a lot of crazy Snyder Bros saying that this finally would allow them to make the Snyder Cut. I think there's a chance maybe we could get an animated version of the Snyder Cut ending. Just because they gotta keep Warner Brothers Animation busy. But overall, this is bad for everyone because it just means that less stuff will be coming out. Because maybe Netflix won't give a shit about DC. Maybe Netflix will end DC. It says they're excited about acquiring it, but I feel they're more excited about acquiring the backlog. I feel we might still get Batman movies or Batman versus Wednesday, but I can't really say this is a good thing for the consumer. Because when Netflix and Warner Brothers aren't fighting, then they're not going to be putting out projects to compete with each other. And if Netflix goes through with shutting down the movie theater system, then that's also mega bad. ZZ says, I don't know what to think of this. DC Comics, on the other hand, total mess, though. Batgirl, Cassandra Cain is pretty cool. Oh, also ZZ is a dude. Okay, whatever. Sorry, I misgendered you. Back to thinking where I was at. Blah, blah, blah. I kind of like the current Absolute Batman storyline at DC. That's about where I'm at. I feel Marvel kind of completely sucks, so I'd be pretty sad to see DC Comics shut down because I feel DC Comics is still got a little bit of integrity going. Man, what a fucking mess. All right, the other angle to this mess is that Paramount feels like Netflix won unfairly, and they are making a stink with the Trump administration. Let me see what else is going on. Hold on, let me scrub the back alleys for some news. All right, what else we got here that is worth talking about? Luis Fernando says this is a very sad day for the whole industry. This is a disaster and a worst-case outcome for WB. An evil checkmate applied to Netflix against legacy Hollywood, legacy media, and movie theaters. Anyone who says otherwise is naive, ignorant, and disingenuous. This is going to be much worse than Zaslav was for WB. Netflix bought WB. Expect to see many of your favorite WB franchise destroyed. They're going to race swap all your characters. This guy's a racist. Okay. Blah, blah, blah. Really, really sad it came down to this. That's the press release I just read. This guy's worried that Netflix is going to overemphasize making series and miniseries over just making movies. Wompstomp Film says the Netflix WB merger teaches you anything. It should be that more filmmakers need to go indie and you need to stop giving your money to these greedy, uncreative pigs. Support the people actually doing the work. That's a good take on it. This guy's just laughing at how many people thought Netflix would never buy WB. This guy says Netflix rescued WB from Paramount. That there is an argument there that Paramount would have been worse for them as well. This was a bad situation either way you look at it. Also, I thought originally the Saudis were siding with Comcast, but it seems somehow that Paramount was able to make the Saudis switch sides to their side. So I guess that's better, but still meh. Warner Brothers Japan is streaming Record of Ragnarok on Netflix. I guess I have no idea how the Netflix Warner Brothers anime situation will go down, but that is a situation that will at least affect Steel Ball Run, the new JoJo series. This guy is saying this is a dark moment for film history, especially considering how great a summer WB had. Netflix removing one of the key studios from theatrical distribution will be devastating to the movie theater industry. Oh, comments are popping off. Let me check the comments real fast. Brandon's waifu says calling it DC Knockout is the next fighting game from Aniris. I have no idea how WB Games is going to be affected. I'm hoping Netflix will just take over WB Games because Netflix's game department sucks. Kaiju with a camera says at least we have the massive verse. Not sure what that is. ZZ says I miss the 80s when things were simple. Yeah, man, me too. I wish I had got my show out in the 80s. I could have just sold it on VHS tape. Toku Prime says, I know we're getting a new Ben 10 comic series. I just hope we get a new cartoon series made for older fans or something. I know Ben 10 is trending with YouTube reactors. I heard some talk that they were trying to get Ben 10 folded into the DC universe. If that happened, that would be pretty good for it. ZZ says if all else fails, goes indie. Brandon's waifu says the indie circle isn't any less corrupt at the moment, sadly. Yeah, man, I know that personally. I've been on the indie circle. The indie circle is pretty corrupt. I made an indie movie, and I basically had all the profits from it stolen from me. So I just lost $7,000 and got nothing. Let's see. Or cheap, the cost of an indie film blows my mind. Dylan's here. Dylan says if Paramount got it, then they would have fused Cartoon Network and Nickelodeon together, so that would have been a complete monopoly on kids' entertainment and channels in a sense. Yeah, you're right about that, Dylan. That would have also sucked. I mean, either way, like, the companies shouldn't have been able to fuse at this level. Like, this is still, like, a monopoly level, like, fusion that shouldn't have gone through. The only thing we can really hope for is that the FCC doesn't allow it, but with how fucked up the FCC is under Trump, I feel like it's just a matter of them being bribed enough or doing something really, like, unethical that they'll allow it. Like, that's the thing I kind of hate about, like, the current, like, administration. Like, there's, like, mass spread corruption. Let's see what else we got. Kaiju says it's a tokusatsu-inspired shared comic universe. Yeah, lol. ZZ says it's funny that Ben 10 is rumored to join the DC universe because my bro told me that Ben 10 Omniverse looked like something from DCAU. A lot of the Ben 10 series had the same animators as the DCAU. That's why it looked like that, and that's kind of why I feel very comfortable with Ben 10 joining the DC universe, because a lot of people feel like it is like an honorary DC show already, just because it deals with superheroes and it had all those superhero veterans working on it. Surprised I'm talking about Ben 10 so much today. Okay, let's see what else we got. WB being acquired by Netflix is bizarre. I mean, not just unexpected, but I remember when Netflix was so weak and crappy that they would just mail you DVDs in the mail. And if you didn't watch them, you had to mail them back. Let's see. 5 years ago, WB saw Friends have a massive resurgence on Netflix, so they took it back so they could launch their own streaming service just for it, only to fail, and now Netflix is about to go full circle and buy back the whole company just to get Friends there. Let's see. This guy is saying that Netflix will destroy the movie theater industry by only allowing Warner Brothers shows to have a 2-week theatrical release and then immediately putting them on Netflix. Netflix does say that they plan to make theatrical release windows even shorter because they don't like the theaters. This guy was arguing that the Comcast Universal merger would have been the best case scenario. I think so too. I think even though that also would have been a monopoly, I think they would have kept most of it intact. Let's see what else. Blah. Now I can annoy Netflix to make Teen Titans Season 6. Kaiju says the Massive Verse is a tokusatsu shared universe. What is the Massive Verse, man? Like, what are you referring to there? Because, like, the WB Godzilla movies are like the Monster Monarch verse. The Ultra series is the Ultra series. There's the Shin Heroes universe. Like, I don't know what you're referring to. Are those like the Gamera movies? Yeah, what to do. I was hoping to get more information about the Paramount screwback. Netflix and Paramount fighting over WB, like Spider-Man fighting Santa Claus. Yeah, sure. First details on Netflix acquisition of Warner Brothers. They claim they will keep theatrical releases for films, but they will shorten the window. Netflix will keep HBO Max around while periodically and slowly adding WB and HBO content to Netflix. Deal will not fully close until the end of 2026 after Warner Brothers has split its television networks off into a separate company. All right, so this isn't happening right away, so there is still a chance that the train could be derailed. Yesterday, they were off asking for Sweden offers, and there was still a chance Paramount and Comcast could have done something. Okay. One more thing I want to check out. I want to check out the Paramount angle because I did hear that Paramount was going to like try to sue them because they were like crybabying about it. Anything I got about this? I saw this news story this like morning or last night, but it seems to have like disappeared in the ether. Oh, here we go. From Variety. A group of major players has sent an urgent open letter from Congress warning an economic and institutional meltdown in Hollywood if Netflix fully succeeds in acquiring Warner Brothers Discovery. The letter was sent via email to members of Congress from both parties on Thursday from an anonymous collective identifying themselves only as concerned feature film producers. So, yeah, Netflix as a streamer will hold a noose around the theatrical marketplace and will have the ability to cut off the like entire industry at any time. Yeah, the Filmmakers Union is coming together to outline 3 areas of great concern to Congress that Netflix could stand to destroy the theatrical film marketplace by escalating or eliminating the amount of time Warner Brothers films would play in theaters before hitting a combined Netflix HBO Max streaming platform. Sources told Variety earlier Thursday that Netflix's current proposal for Warner Brothers has a theatrical window as thin as 2 weeks of exclusivity before moving to streaming. Another insider familiar with the deal processed flatly and denied that, saying the periods would be a little longer. Rival bidders Comcast and Paramount both keep robust theatrical distribution outlets. Paramount has specifically pledged to keep Warner Brothers operating as a standalone business that will make a minimum of 14 films for theaters per year. Bro, that's like 1 movie a month. That's fucking awful, actually. That should be the fucking headline right here. Oh, wait, that's only if Paramount had absorbed Warner Brothers. Okay, that's shitty. All right, well, that's not happening, but that's still a shitty deal. Okay, I see why that's not news now. Okay, the producers then argument that... Okay, we read this part. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, let me see if I can find the Paramount news, because that was the last thing I wanted to go over. Paramount, WB... Okay, here we go. From yesterday. Paramount questions Warner Brothers Discovery on fairness and accuracy on sale process. Not sure it's acting in the best interest of its shareholders. No, it's not, because it's going to shut down the marketplace. Blah, 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 blah. WBD has abandoned the semblance of reality of a fair transaction process, thereby abdicating its duties to its stockholders, embarking on a myopic process with a predetermined outcome that favors a single bidder. Reads the letter from attorney Quinn Emanuel. We specifically request and expect this letter will be shared and discussed with the board of directors of WBD. The letter reports that WBD's management appears to favor Netflix's offer. Netflix made an offer of mostly cash, while Paramount's latest bid was all cash. According to people close to the matter who declined to be named, speaking about confidential dealings, all three companies submitted higher bids than their initial offers, told CNBC. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, this is just more like financial mumbo jumbo. However, before the sale process, David Zaslav had been known to tell colleagues that Amazon Prime or Netflix would be interested suitors in Warner Brothers Discovery, or specifically HBO Max and the film studio, people said. I honestly do feel like Amazon would have been better than Netflix because Amazon didn't plan on shutting down the theaters like Netflix did. Blah. Okay. All right, I think that's the whole story. All right, comments are still popping off. ZZ is still waiting for Teen Titans Season 6. ZZ says Massiverse is a comic series published by Image Comics. Kyle Higgins, who's known for writing Rangers and Ultraman comics, is writing something called Radiant Black. Okay, that's completely off my radar. Never heard of it. Sounds a little bit too obscure for me, but sounds cool. ZZ says Dylan had it right. Toku says I'm recently watching all the Metal Hero series, and I'm up to Sherivan. Yo, I'm up to Sherivan too. I'm up to like episode 25. I just saw the episode of Sherivan where Machiko Sogo was like a suicide gypsy. Great episode. Very much about how Sherivan got rid of suicide forever. ZZ's tearing his hair out. Tiffany says, I'm just happy it isn't Paramount, but at what cost? At what cost? It seems to be the entire American film movie theater industry. And also HBO Max. Yeah, like Netflix acquiring WBD means that HBO Max will cease to exist, movie theaters will cease to exist, and probably DC and Cartoon Network will also like fade into obscurity here. Rogue Dio says WB is a sick dog of media being shot out to killed. Tiffany says, I do hear Netflix wants to still do movie theater stuff contrary to popular belief. Still kind of pissed we might lose physical media stuff for Warner Brothers though unless they branch off a little bit. Tiffany, I just read like their full press release. They're planning to only do movie theater stuff for like 2 weeks. Then it'll be on Netflix and people won't fucking care at that point. Like their like business model is going to put the theaters out of business with irrelevancy. And like, if anything, it's just like a like stopgap measure. So it's not like they're going to put the movie theaters out directly. It's like they're going to like drain them off like year by year until they go out of business on their own volition. Like it's actually super fucking evil what they're putting down here. Chainsaw Man XO says, as long as they commit to theatrical releases and don't mess with Deep Sea, I'll be fine with it. At least it's not Paramount, but I suppose it's a sad situation all around. Chainsaw Man, it sounds like they're going to directly mess with that shit. And I imagine DC will still keep going for a while, but in the long run, we're going to get less DC. ZZ says, Brandon Waifu, we're lucky Beef Fighters would make a street freaking crossover with King Oger. That'd be cool. Chainsaw Man says, yeah, that 2-week model is brutal. Yeah, the 2-week model is fucking like sabotage. Like they're going to sabotage the theaters into bankruptcy. That seems to be the plan here because Netflix has always known they're competing with theaters. The CEO of Netflix hates theaters. So this seems to be a long-term plan to like put them out of their misery here. Dio says, I only go to theaters for Japanese stuff nowadays. So do I, man. I love doing that. It's fun. Tiffany says they're going to kill the third space, basically. Yeah, that seems to be the plan, to kill it like death by 1,000 cuts. Like, the only companies still supporting the theater will be Universal, I guess technically Japanese studios like Toei and whatever. They're making a comeback. Universal, Paramount, Disney, and the Japanese studios. Those will be the only 4 pillars keeping the theaters afloat at this point. All right, that's all I got to say here. I'm not even going to edit this video. I'm just going to leave this up as is. This one can kind of just stay up as its own thing. I'm going to get going now because I got to go like help out my mom and stuff. Kaiju with a camera says, I can't stand the theater. My own best friend can be an awful audience member. If your friend is an awful audience member, then you don't go with him, man. Just go by yourself. But the theater's a fun experience. I love it. Chainsaw Man XO says WB was doing so good this year too with Superman, Sinners, Weapons, one battle after another. Yeah, man, that's kind of why this fucking sucks. Like, those were all like banger movies. I saw all those movies except for like Weapons. That was like too scary for me. I don't like child abuse like that, but nonetheless, like those movies were fucking great. Like, this is really like a sucky, shitty thing for like the world in like general. Like, every day the fucking world just keeps becoming a worse place, and it's all fucking the billionaires' faults. And I fucking hate this. I really hate that like things just keep getting worse like this. All right, I'm gonna go. I got stuff to deal with. I will maybe be back on Sunday, if not Monday. Hopefully nothing else crazy